Okay,
Oh, are we on?
we're on.
Oh,
And
My favorite part.
if anybody wants to buy the album, just come see Paul.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That was fun.
that was fun. Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to our Sunday night offering of Astronomy Outreach for May the 29th, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show.
Where's time going?
Hey!
Hello, man.
Hey!
Jim.
Jeez.
Wrong part of the script, sorry.
Okay, my name is Chris Kerwin. I'm the creator of the social media channels known as Astronomy by the Bay, and I am an amateur astronomer and member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, the New Brunswick chapter. We are streaming
Boy,
on
that's a long
YouTube.
title.
It is. We are on live YouTube, right? Nobody's up there yet, but anyway. First of all, I'd like to welcome back my two regular co-hosts, fellow RAS member, Mr. Paul Owen from the Moon Shadow Observatory in beautiful Hampton, NB. Paul,
Big
come,
hands.
Paul. Big hands, big hands.
I can't sing it. I can mouth it, but I can't sing it.
And we have welcome back our other regular co-host and fellow RAS member, Mr. Mike Powell from the PFO Observatory here in St. John, New Brunswick. Beautiful St. John.
Oh.
PFO. Welcome, Mike.
Hello.
Hello.
Huffo.
Okay, let's get started. Well, anyway, on tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show. All right. Well, we've all had our challenges and we all make mistakes. It's no different with astronomy. Tonight, we're going to try to take a look at what we believe are the top mistakes astronomers make. Top mistakes that we've made. How's that? Other astronomers may make other ones for sure. Hopefully, we can help you from making the same ones. Keep you from making the same ones. Also tonight, we'll be able to see inside the windows of the planned orbiting hotel. Possibly, Mark. Maybe not yet, but hopefully. Also tonight, Bud returns with another fine binocular target, something called Mel 111. And Mike will be back as well with another MacGyver segment. This week, a novel way to store your solar filters.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's really cool.
A real way to do it.
Not a novel.
Okay. Also, Paul's going to be back with his astrophotography tip of the week. This week, it's in keeping with our theme tonight, astro imaging blunders.
And we make them.
And we make
yes.
all the time.
I let you make them. As well as another interesting Rosanna's Fun Fact segment as well. And I'll be back with a look at what's up in the night sky this week. We'll have our wonderful photo submissions to share as well. Another busy show, folks. So this is a family-friendly, interactive live broadcast. So for those of you joining us from our YouTube channel or Facebook page, we are happy to try to answer all of your questions in real time as well. And of course, we'd like to welcome all of those who have been joining us regularly through the Rogers local TV network. Welcome, everybody. Okay,
And shout out to all of our new fans from Minto, the Dara family. Or Chipman, sorry. They're going to hate me for that one.
Oh, they are.
The Dara family.
The Dara family. Hey, hello, Daras. Thank you for joining us. And a shout out to my brother Danny, who's watching us again tonight, and he has watched us for almost over 2 years now. So, hey, Dan. Okay, so let's get started with our topic tonight, guys. A discussion around astronomy mistakes that we've all made. So I think what's going to happen is Paul has a presentation there, and the best way I think we're going to be able to do it, I was going to present it, but if I do that, you get full screen and you can't see these other guys on the side.
I like that.
Probably not a bad thing sometimes.
I like that.
If Paul presents now, then we'll at least we'll have that up. He can pin that up and.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just give me 1 cent on here and I'll find it.
So
I'd have a cigarette that way.
I'm going to say thanks to Mike for putting this list together for us. We were all looking at things that we could all see that were mistakes. We'll probably add to it as well, but Mike came up with quite a number of good ones, so we'll go with that.
You can always add to it.
We can. Oh, yeah, there's no question.
What did you call it?
Mistakes astronomers make.
Yeah. Where did it
Number 1, sending it to Paul.
Yeah, that was the biggest
Don't
mistake.
make that mistake.
Give me a sec. I'll find it. I got a million pictures opened up here, and
Okay,
that's why.
we'll say good evening
I
to.
told you 100,000 times. Don't exaggerate.
We'll say
Okay.
good evening to Trudy, Karim, and Sighorn out here on YouTube, and welcome to Jeff, Emma, Mark, Stefan, Kathy, Pat, Mike, and Chris from London, Ontario.
Wow.
Ray's here. Wow, good, nice crowd. Lisa's
Oh, there
here.
it is. There it is. No, that's
I got
fine.
two guys from Ontario down here.
Carol and Mark. Yeah.
That's mine. Just chat amongst yourselves for a second.
Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Got it? Hey, I knew.
I found it.
We count on you.
Yes, I found it. By golly. By Gipper. Okay, you just give me 1 second here and I'll get it all set up.
Time's up. Next time.
All right, now I'm going to share
Next
my
slide.
screen. Yeah, put myself back where I belong, right here. So that's first Astro tip blunder of the week. Do not give Paulo one anything to share.
There we are.
All right, there we go. Well, now.
Well, there's the first problem right there.
The second picture, you get a crappy view anyway.
Yeah. They do up really bad. Once they get wet, that's it. You're done.
Yeah. Yeah. So there we are. So that's it. Just
it.
don't do this and you're good to go.
Just that, you're good to go.
Things in mirror are farther than they appear.
All right. So the top mistakes astronomers make. I love it. Oh, is that the first one?
Yep.
Somewhere there.
You want to go ahead with the first one?
Yep. So great expectations. This one is an error many newcomers to the hobby make, partly because some pretty dodgy marketing. That 675 times power written across the scope. Hey. See the unobtainable views pictured on the very basic telescope above. Put simply, it is the expectation that a small telescope operated by someone with little experience will produce celestial views equaling the Hubble Space Telescope. And if you're in search for a beginner telescope online and run in through these reviews, there will be a number complaining about blurry images, poor zoom, and undefined galaxies, as well as shaky mounts and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
These limitations are sadly just unavoidable consequences of living under a turbulent atmosphere or owning a telescope that doesn't have the HST's 2.4 diameter aperture. In the end, I class this one as one of the most damaging errors because for those who make it astronomy, becomes a frustration rather than a fascination. And I bet you there are probably hundreds of these things sitting in closets all over North America, probably thousands.
Yeah.
Closets all over North America that people just couldn't see anything with it, threw it in the closet, and that was it.
I found something that they are perfect for.
June bug swatting.
Well, T-ball baseball bats. Nice aluminum baseball bat for T-ball. It works.
However, once you get familiar with the capabilities of your telescope binoculars, you quickly start to appreciate the significance of those faint smudges of light, for sure. So yeah, I mean that's the one that we all get drawn into. It's a very popular question for me. I want to buy a telescope for my 10-year-old or 12-year-old. Okay, what would you like to buy? Well, what do you want to do with it? Well, I want to see the sky, of course. Well, that's not enough. What do you want to do with it? Again, are you looking at taking astrophotos? Because if you're talking about astrophotos, let's start talking about $2,000 and up, just to get started. If you really want to talk about a small budget telescope for observing only, we can talk about $300 to $400. But anything less than that, and you're going to get into this, and you're going to toss it aside. You really are, unless you buy a used telescope that you get a great deal on. But you're going to be starting between $300 and $400, and that sounds like a lot of money. Yes, it does, and it is. So if you don't want to go that route, buy binoculars first. Try binoculars. Learn the night sky. You know, you've got a set of optics there that you can get for about $50, and see if the child is really interested in stargazing, staying out for hours at a time or an hour at a time maybe, looking at the night sky. Then consider spending $300 to $400 on the first telescope, and even that's a low end. But you know, $400, that's a lot, but you can keep it for your lifetime and pass it on to your child and their grandchild. The sky will not change in our lifetimes at all, so you'll get lots of money back for your investment if it gets used at all. So,
as a rule of thumb, number one, don't buy your telescope at a department store.
All right.
Right.
Okay, Mike, you want to take the second one?
Unrealistic Expectations. You've seen the wonderful colors of those amazing images of nebula galaxies, but it doesn't look like that when you use your equipment and look for yourself. The colors usually, they're there, but the human eye is just not sensitive enough to detect them. But it is possible to see the objects out in space because your eye's limitation through only, some objects that show color well. Well, something, you're right. Double stars and stuff like Albireo, you can definitely see a blue star and an orange star kind of thing. But you're not going to see, the nebula pictures that you expect to see. I know a fellow, he bought even a C8 originally, it was a 6-inch telescope reflector, and he looked at the Andromeda Galaxy and saw a smudge. And he was all disappointed. He spent all this money. So he went out and he bought an 8-inch, and he saw a bigger smudge. He didn't see that Hubble photograph that he was expecting to see because you won't see the color. Your eyes just aren't sensitive enough to see that. Yeah. You'll see details, absolutely, with a decent scope, but you're not going to see the wonderful colors that you see in these pictures and stuff like that. So don't go thinking that you're going to buy a scope and that's the first thing you're going to see is a Hubble shot. It's not going to happen.
See, now, when you take that back to the first slide and the marketing that's on the boxes, they actually show you pictures in color. So that's your expectation is to get what you see on the box.
Yeah.
So that's the first misleading thing that you'll find with that type of telescope is you'll see things that you'll never see.
Well, it's advertising, right? Like anything else, they're going to draw you in with some fancy photos, and you find out that's not what it's like at all.
So. Yeah. All right. So the third one is rushing. So many beginners get frustrated when they can't see the telescope what they expected to with the first attempt. So when looking through a telescope, take time to study the object you're looking at. It can take time for the eye to relax and the brain to understand what it's seeing if the object is very faint, and sometimes, if conditions are not favorable, they may prevent you from viewing the object you'd hope to see. So be patient and try again another night. And a lot of that comes with just experience and getting used to seeing, and eventually over time you'll start experimenting with different eyepieces. Everybody's eye is a little different, and there are different eyepieces that are a lot more efficient for light, that allow more light in. They're brighter to begin with. There are other ones that are darker. But again, they will be more for darker skies, more powerful optics, that kind of stuff. But anyway, all that stuff is something that you'll come to over time. And then, if nothing else, look at the moon and try to sketch it. Yeah. Try to sketch as much as you can, because if you can learn to sketch, you're really paying attention to what your eye is actually delivering. Exactly. And then from there, you'll become a much better observer.
Yep.
Yeah, you learn to use your averted vision as well, because just like the blinking planetary, you look straight at it and it's gone. Yeah. You look at it avertedly and there it is again. Yeah. Because of that sensitivity. So that's, if you rush into it, just start trying to look at stuff right away and expecting to see something. Sometimes it's not there because you're not looking with that averted vision. You got to learn how to do that. Yeah. Yeah. That's a skill you got to teach.
Yeah, it's not a race. Like, you really need to take your time and enjoy what you're looking at. Because I know my first experiences, which are what we're talking about, the things that you shouldn't do, was go through as many targets as I possibly could, and you see nothing.
That's right. Well, that's nice. Next, yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So take your time and enjoy each object for what it really is. Yeah. And even before you go start to look for stuff, go on the internet and have a look at what you're looking at, get educated with it, or have a little program with you on your phone, or even better, a red light and a book that you can see well and with red light, and read a little bit about the information about what it is that you're looking at, and then it becomes a lot more enjoyable.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Chris.
Okay. Yes, next. Okay, there you go. Well, not checking your kit. All done that. From amateurs to, remember a cardboard dew shield.
Yeah.
Worked well. It did work well, but if it had been for Mike Guyver here, I would have been out of luck for sure. SOL. For amateurs to professionals, we've all done it. Driven miles to a dark sky site only to find that we've managed to leave our binoculars or a favorite eyepiece on the table at home. If you're planning to use a digital camera to take pictures, make sure you've got a backup, memory cards, and batteries. The cold can have a bad effect on your batteries in particular. If I'm going to go away to a star party event, I try to take paper and print onto, just write down, okay, I'm camping. So you have to make, really 3 lists. You got to make one for your food, which is most important, and one for what you're going to sleep in while you're there, if you are going to sleep, because that's not really as important because you don't sleep much anyway. But thirdly, you want to try to stay dry at least. But thirdly, your astronomy gear, and make 3 different lists, and then make sure you check them off twice, kind of thing, before you load them, because that one thing that you left behind could ruin your whole weekend as far as observing go. If I just had that extra this or that, and you were counting on, I can't wait till I get these images, and there you go, you've left that one part at home.
Doesn't take much.
Doesn't take much, especially when you're out camping, like in places like Cooch, where we're going to talk about later, because you can't always get your batteries charged up. And
a visual back.
Visual back, there you go. Yeah. Mount Carlton is a really tough one because you got to bring money with you because they don't have a debit machine.
No.
So, and it's about an hour drive to the
you got to
closest
think
town.
about, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, about an hour to the closest town. So, those kind of things. If you're not, not only with those type of events, but of course, if you're just going to go out locally and set up as well. So it'll save you the aggravation for sure, getting all set up and then realizing, I forgot such and such.
Where are my counterweights?
Yep. What'd you say, Mike? Duct tape and some rocks?
And a rock. I've done it.
Yep.
Someone showed up at a star party. They had they had all the gear, laptops, cameras, the whole 9 yards. No counterweights on the Equatorial Mount. And we went digging through the woods, found a rock, duct taped it to the bottom arm, and it worked like a charm for the night. Perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mike.
Wow, using too much magnification. I shouldn't be the one talking about this one because I'm a wide field viewer anyway. when I'm doing my viewing, I'm always using anything from a 32 to a 50 millimeter eyepiece because I love to see the object I'm looking at and everything around it. But you'll find people, the first thing they want to do is get on an object and fire in a 6 millimeter eyepiece, to see something like a globular cluster. And you see it, but something that it is too much power, way too much power. I find that by using the high or low power eyepieces or the big, 50 millimeters and 40 millimeters, my image or what I'm seeing is a little bit smaller, but it's a lot crisper and a lot more detail seems to be in it than it is when you start pumping up that power and get in too close. Just a little bit of bad air, and boy, it magnifies big time with your eyepieces.
Yeah.
And you'll be frustrated as heck because you can't see anything. Where if you drop down to say a 32 or a 40 millimeter eyepiece, you have a nice, fairly crisp view. So don't think right off the bat that you're going to go 600 power with your telescope and see nice clear views. Start out with a wide field eyepiece first, and then maybe start working down to something a little slower but a little more power as you go, and then you might even find that you have to back off again. So don't automatically think that the telescope's going to zoom in, right, and see crystal clear objects when you look through it.
Especially our part of the world, because we've got, if you're up at around 300 power, you're pretty well pushing what you can get in this area with the winds that are blowing over the top of us and the moisture, content that we've always seemed to have in our air around close to the bay and stuff. So,
you have to consider your seeing for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Because your seeing is when you go to the dark sky charts for your area, there's a whole explanation as to what the conditions are, and they give you the charts in blue, gray, white, and so on, and they tell you what that is. But that's based on an 11 to 14-inch telescope, which is going to be high magnification, huge aperture. So, if you're looking to buy a big telescope and you're in the East Coast like we are, I don't know that I'd be buying a 14-inch telescope.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to really enjoy the resolution it can give you, because our skies can't give it to you to begin with.
Right. Yeah. No, I did. I think we talked about it maybe a few weeks ago about seeing faint fuzzies in the eyepiece, and somebody has suggested that pumping up the magnification, if you couldn't find it, so if there's a faint fuzzy in there that you just can't quite see, and you are using your averted vision as well, and you still have trouble seeing it, they say to pump up your magnification and just give your eyepiece a little bit of a tap, and sometimes you'll see it move around a little bit, and okay, there it is. Then
that's it. When you're zoomed in that close, the tap's going to make all that much difference in the world.
Yeah.
One of the things too, you'll notice that as in this image that you see is the smaller it is, the tighter the light particles are together, and it actually gets brighter. But the larger you try to pump it up, then the light starts getting spread apart more, and you will and because you're extending the length of your optics, so you'll start to get not only a less resolute picture, but you'll also start losing brightness in your target. So that picture that's on the screen now, that really shows you the difference between not pumping your magnification too much and being able to enjoy a crisp, clear, and bright view.
And that's why they say our aperture is really king, right? Because if you're going to start with a smaller aperture, your image is going to get really dim once you're pumping up your high power. So the larger the aperture you have, the brighter your object is going to be to start with. And then, so large apertures don't mean that it's better for magnification. It just means that you start with a brighter image before you start to magnify.
Yeah, there's more resolution to magnify. Yeah.
Another part I come across, and I've got it. Everybody knows me. I got a ton of scopes. The scopes have a sweet spot. And on some scopes, it could be, that wider field of view that gives you that super nice, crisp view. Other scopes, you put the same eyepiece in and you get a totally different look.
Yeah.
Right? You want to find, it would be nice to find that eyepiece that's got that sweet spot for the telescope you're using if you have more than one. Right?
Yeah.
Not all eyepieces and not all telescopes want to go together as a good match package.
So
I know it's weird to say because it costs a lot of money to buy eyepieces and stuff, but it is true.
It is true, and you can take an eyepiece and put a Barlow on it. If you've got a 20 millimeter eyepiece and put a Barlow on it, and maybe the 10 is the one that gets you. So you can find out which is your sweet spot by using a Barlow with several different eyepieces. Then find the one that actually fits, and then just use that actual magnification, right? So yeah.
Okay, so next in our list of troublesome things that happen to us is pointing the wrong way. Boy, oh boys.
That's never been done.
Yeah. So another common mistake is misaligning the polar axis on the equatorial mount telescope. Hey, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
So the polar axis of the mount must be lined up to the north celestial pole, especially if you plan on using your telescope for deep sky astro imaging, because tracking is it's king. If you get poor tracking, you're going to have elongated stars. The north celestial pole is marked by the pole star Polaris. Make sure that you are quite certain which star this is. Otherwise, long exposure images will show star trails. I guess just like what I said. But Mike and I were in, I think it was Fundy.
I think it was Fundy.
And I thought I had it because Mike doesn't see the stars naked eye as good as say Chris and I do. It takes Mike a little longer. So they have to be a little brighter so we can see them. So I saw one, and I thought for sure that's Polaris. I said, Mike, let's line up. There's Polaris.
Line up on that one. Wrong answer. I blame it on Kirk because he sees everything 20 minutes before the rest of us anyway.
Oh, he picks out Jupiter in the middle of the daytime.
Exactly.
Yeah, there it is, right there. Boy,
yeah. If you're using a tracking mount and you're not polar aligned, boy, she's all over the place. Nothing's going to be in your field of view.
Exactly, and that's for the northern hemisphere. The southern hemisphere is a different thing, but I don't think there's too many people on here that have to deal with that.
That's why I don't use EQ mounts. Hey, that's why I don't use EQ mounts. Look, all
looks silly in that case too, right?
Yeah.
The public's going, well, what are you looking at? We go, haven't got a clue, man, because I don't know what it is.
Look it up. Okay, using bad lighting. Of course, we've all done that too, or had someone with us that actually pulled out their phone and, a really nice bright screen, and they get a phone call. Take your phone, put it in your pocket, turn it down or whatever, or even some of them have a red mode on them now anyway. But put your phone away because your dark adaptation is going to disappear. So using a red light torch, once you've been in the dark for around 20 minutes or so, your eyes start to become naturally adapted to the low light levels. This helps you in seeing fainter objects and stars. The moment you see a bright white light, the sensitivity is lost instantly like that, and it will take you at least another 20 minutes, and it's up to 40 minutes for them actually chemically dilate to open up completely. So you could be 40 minutes out of your observing time. That happens a lot when we're at St. Ceres Beach, but it's because we're at St. Ceres Beach. We're not down there to look at dark sky. We're down there to show people objects. So we'll have people pull up with their headlights, and of course they want to see what you're doing, so they shine them right in your face. What's he doing over there? Let me put my bright lights on. Yeah, there he is. That's him. What's he doing? Anyway, you get a lot of that, so you just kind of, oh well. But when you're in a dark sky spot, of course you want to get as much observing time in as you can, and good observing time. So keep your phone away, put it in your pocket, use a red light, because red light affects our vision less than any other type of light. So don't get and if you don't have a red flashlight, take a white flashlight and put a piece of red cellophane over it. You can get that at dollar store or whatever. Even some candies, I guess, have a red cellophane on them. Go buy yourself a box of Christmas candies, chocolates. Yeah, so
make sure that you get the chocolate off them.
That's it too. Yep. Off your fingers. Yeah. So a red flashlight is always an essential tool. Now you can get them too with varying levels of brightness as well. I mean, you can buy them at Walmart and Canadian Tire and those places. Amazon has them. But the one I bought recently has actually two brightness levels. So really bright red light and a dimmer one. So the bright one, I guess, is to find your stuff afterwards. And it's not bad to have a white and a red light in the same one. Just don't hit the wrong button. But you might have the white light to find your stuff because we always leave a cap on the ground or, ice piece cap or parts or pieces.
That's what buttercups are for.
I left battery packs behind before. So red flashlights are really a good idea.
All right, so let's see what else we got here. Okay, Mike.
Getting cold. Been there, done that too. If you plan to spend the night under the stars, make sure you're wearing good, warm clothing. Pay particular attention to keeping your feet and head warm. Many novice astronomers' nights have been ruined by feeling cold and miserable, and me included. If you're using equipment such as a telescope camera, fingerless gloves are very much useful aid. I can remember it was just not last year, was it, Chris? We were down in St. Martin's. It was late in the year, September.
That's me right there with my sneakers on, but they were waterproof sneakers. So, but I had the old cloth ones before. Our feet just got soaked. And
we were down there during the daytime, and it was like 24 degrees, and we were sweating in the shade.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, this is great. It's going to be a great night. And then that night it dropped to something like 5 degrees, and I was not prepared for that. So after everybody went to bed and I was doing a little bit of viewing, instead of going to my tent, I spent the rest of the night in my truck with the engine running and the heater on.
Because it chills you right to the bone.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, you're not moving around, number one. You're pretty much sitting still. And that's the big thing. If you were jogging back and forth, you'd be sweating to death. But sitting still for long periods of time and even drinking warm coffee doesn't necessarily keep you warm the whole time.
No.
So, you can always take layers off, but it's more difficult to go get layers and put them on. So make sure you get the layers on first.
Right.
And if you get too hot, peel them off. But make sure you got lots because it does get cold fast.
My mistake for a while, too, was not having a chair. Not having an astronomer's chair to sit in to be comfortable. When you're standing over an eyepiece or you're bent over looking at an eyepiece, it just so quickly you can get uncomfortable. And you don't want that. Along with the fact that you're cold, but if you're uncomfortable trying to see something, you've ruined your observing time because you're not really concentrating on the object that you're really trying to see. You don't want to be thinking about being cold or thinking about, bent over backwards trying to see through the eyepiece. Get yourself a nice comfortable chair. That's as important to me as any telescope that you buy. When you buy a telescope, they should sell you a chair with it. Instead of eyepieces, that should be a chair first, because that's the one thing that you're going to really appreciate. And an adjustable chair, because you're not always going to be looking in the same spot in the sky. You might be looking straight up at zenith or right at the horizon, and you need a chair that's going to be able to do this for you. So there are chairs out there. They can be a little pricey. Of course, everything's pricey right now, but it doesn't matter what you buy today. But you can build your own as well. There are lots of plans on the internet that you can build your own wooden chair with your own padding and stuff on it. So get yourself a nice, comfortable chair that keeps your bottom warm and keeps you warm, and keeps you very comfortable at the eyepiece. That's a big concern.
And there's one other thing. This is the last slide, but the one other thing that we hadn't talked about is make sure that you get your bug repellent.
Yes,
exactly.
Big time.
That can really ruin your night.
Not much, but nighttime, I'm telling you, they're coming out for blood, and that is literal.
Yeah, and you'll squash them on your eyepieces, and you'll squash them in your ears, and they'll be everywhere.
It's just the most irritating thing when you're trying to enjoy something and you're just swatting it.
Yeah, irritating.
Yeah, very
I
irritating.
swallowed a bug.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's our list.
Now there's 100 million more mistakes that you
absolutely.
can make. That's
Yeah.
just tip of the iceberg, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
So that's
Yeah.
a good start for people anyway. You can always go back and review that. Probably one other one I might add to it is the fact that I stepped up too big when I bought my first telescope. I thought I had to get the biggest I could possibly afford, and that
Yeah.
was the wrong idea. And because I bought a computer guided one, and I didn't have a clue where the planets were. I knew all the planets were out there, but I had no idea how to find them. Oh, I'll just find
Yeah.
them on a handpad. Well, that's great until your handpad quits and you're at a star party and everybody's lined up behind you because you got the biggest scope, and you got to say, oh, "Excuse me, my battery pack quit. Can you go over there, please?" I
Yeah.
did that once.
well,
That
you
was
can't
it.
go over there because I'm
I'll
not
be right
polarized
back.
on the right star.
I'll be right back.
He's not polar aligned, so he can't. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be right back. Run to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Take
Entertain
the door.
yourself. Be back
Yeah.
in an hour.
Yeah. No, so I went right back to I went right back to trying to learn the sky a little bit with a daub and stuff then. And then I felt more comfortable. If my battery pack did quit, then at least I knew where to turn my scope a little better. So yeah, that was fun. That was Mac the Quack. Anyway, okay, let's move from there to the rest of our evening's discussions. And I guess first of all, we're going to start with Mike Guyver.
Hey.
Hey, caught him off guard.
No, I just got to get it up. No pun intended. Entire screen. This one. Alrighty. My Guyver tip of the week this week is how to store your solar filter. Now, I just recently know some people that have purchased solar filters, and there was a major conversation going on about how to take care of them and how to store them and what to put them in and where do I get something for it, because a cardboard box apparently that they come in wasn't quite good enough. And over a period of time, the cardboard box should, eventually get wet or something like that and disintegrate. So you purchased a solar filter for your telescope, and the box is starting to degrade. Trying to figure out a good storage container to hold and protect the filter from damage, something strong and that can take a lot of unpacking and abuse. There is something out there, believe it or not. And I found it. Actually, my wife found it. I'll give her all the credit for it. Here's a really good solution. They are film reel canisters. And I'm really telling you the truth here. These things work fantastic. They're all metal. They're extremely rugged. They're round, and it's kind of cool that your solar filter's round. You find one that's right size, it drops right in. I put just a piece of lint-free cloth that I put inside the canister first. I lay my filter on top of it. I put the top on the can, and guess what? That can will take a licking, and your filter will keep on ticking because these cans are sturdy as heck. And I've dropped counterweights on them, and my solar filter has been perfectly fine. Now, you say, where do I find them? Well, believe it or not, you can still get them on eBay if you look around, and they're not too awful expensive. Mine, thanks to my wife, came from Value Village and the Salvation Army store, believe it or not. So walk around these little secondhand stores and stuff like that, and you'll be surprised at what you come across. But if you do come across one, it's as good as gold as far as I'm concerned for your solar filter. Okay? And don't be afraid to go in those secondhand stores. And look at this. It works perfect. You can see there's the reels that I have, and there's the filters inside them. Packing your solar filter into a metal canister with some foam or lint-free cloth is a good way to keep your filter in good condition, protect it from the elements, and safe for travel. So that's my Mike Guyver tip of the week.
Like it. That's a
It's
great
in
one.
the can.
What's that?
It's in the can.
It's a really
It's
good
a
one. Really, really good.
Good one.
Really good. Is that for real? Is that for real?
It's for real.
That was really good.
Okay, we beat that one to death, guys. Let's go on.
Yeah. Next slide.
Next slide. Mr. Paul, how about an Astro tip of the week, sir?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's in the can. You guys didn't get that.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we got it.
I know. I'm amusing myself. Now I gotta find it. I'm working on all these photographs, and I got them all over my thing. So it's hard for. I know I've set this thing aside, but it's kind of like going through your pocket and you're looking for change when you got keys and gum and everything else in there. I think this is it here. Let's just see. Yeah, there it is. I got it. Yo, I got it. Okay, so in keeping with the theme for tonight, my tip of the week is called Astro Imaging Blunders. I'll share my screen, and we'll go right through it. So, let me know when you can see that. I'll make
it.
Okay, so Astro Imaging Blunders. So, and this can work. This pertains to everybody, not just people shooting deep sky with, long telescopes and cool cameras and stuff. Even if you're shooting Milky Way shots, all these things I'm going to talk about, or a good part of them, will pertain to you as well. So let's go through it. So the first thing is poor planning, and this is probably the worst one for many, many reasons. So picking a target that is in the wrong place in the sky for your location. So a lot of people say, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to shoot this tonight. And then they don't realize that, okay, my house is here. I've got all of these trees over here, and I'm not going to see this target until 3 o'clock in the morning. Whoops, poor planning, especially if I got to work the next day. Picking a target that's out of season. I want to go shoot this, but guess what? It ain't up in the night sky. You got to wait. If you're not planning for it, you may not get it. Imaging on a night and not checking the moon phase. I'm going to rush out. I'm going to image this tonight. I get out there, get it all set up. I'm only an hour into it, and all of a sudden, guess what? Full moon. Bang, you're done for the night. Picking a target that is not correct for your imaging scale. Very important. You got to know your telescope, know your camera. Some people say, oh man, I got this camera and I got this telescope and I want to take a picture of the moon and all I could get was one crater. Well, guess what? You're too much magnification, or your chip size is too small. So you have to really know your equipment before you go out and start to shoot whatever it is you're going to shoot. If you want to shoot Andromeda, if you're using a 2,000 millimeter Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope, guess what? Forget it. You're not going to get it all in there. You need a tiny little telescope. So you have to know your equipment. That's all part of planning. Trying to shoot the Milky Way in an urban setting. Can you get it? Yes, you can. How well will it be defined? Not very. So if you're going to shoot the Milky Way and you want to get these fantastic shots, you see all these photographers that are taking the foreground scenes, and then they've got these extremely deep, beautiful, gorgeous Milky Ways. Those are in dark, dark, dark skies, and you cannot replace a dark sky with anything if you're trying to shoot a Milky Way. So again, all part of your planning. Okay, that's the poor planning portion. Next up, not focusing properly. This is probably the biggest blunder that everybody makes, and I mean everybody. Basically what this is we go out with our DSLRs. We're going to take that beautiful Milky Way shot or that constellation. We get it all in on our cameras. We take the shot. We look at it on that little screen. We say, oh, great, going to go home. Put it on the computer. You do that, all your stars are out of focus. So that all is also a blunder that you really need to spend time on focusing. I'm not going to get into how you do it here. I just want to make you aware of that you do need to have focusing techniques to get those sharp, clear stars. Make sure you learn that. Next up is underexposing your astro image. So you cannot go out there, take one image, take one frame, and expect to get an absolutely stunning result. You may be able to get the image in the picture. You may be able to Photoshop the crap out of it and make it look like it's supposed to look like, but you'll never truly get the photons that you need unless your exposures are long enough. So make sure that your exposures are long enough to capture the photons and the detail that you want, depending on what you're shooting. If you're shooting bright things like planets, the moon, the sun, they're bright enough. You could actually slow down your exposure, or speed up your exposure, sorry. This is probably the number one thing for most people that don't understand when they're shooting a lot of this stuff, and they try to post-process after, and they can't get anywhere with it. It's because they've shot in JPEG. So JPEG is a lossy format. Editing in JPEG is destructive. Anything that you've done that you've imaged as a JPEG, it's compressed. Anything you do to it is going to destroy whatever it is that you have at that point in time. JPEG also has a shallower dynamic range than RAW does. So when you try to process, because JPEG is supposed to be a final result. It's not supposed to be an image that you're supposed to take to post and process. So that's why it's really, really destructive. JPEG also has a smaller color gamut, meaning that if I've got a really, really wide range of blue in a RAW image, in a JPEG, I'm probably going to have that much range of blue. Same as my reds and greens and all that. So again, JPEGs are very, very limited in the color gamut. RAW images allows much more shadow and highlight recovery up to a certain limit. I mean, if you're blowing out your highlights or if you're blowing, if you're clipping your darks, you can't recover that. But whatever is in that range that you can recover a lot more of it when you're shooting in RAW. RAW also allows for wider white balance manipulation. JPEG is much, much more limited. So if you've got something again and you've got your white balance set, you can shift it a little bit, but you're not going to shift it with any kind of degree that you can with RAW, because RAW is lossless and you can put that white balance anywhere you want to put it. So to sum this one up, when you're shooting nighttime stuff or anything really that you want to post-process, do not use JPEG. Knowing the stars, and when trying to align your go-to telescope, you must know some of the brighter stars. Chris talked about it earlier. You run out of power, you're toast. Okay, it says line it up onto Vega. Oh, where's Vega? What's Vega? Well, okay, line it up onto Betelgeuse. Isn't that a movie? So if you don't know the bright stars, because with your go-to telescope, if you're relying on its electronics, it's relying on you to know a couple of things. The things you have to know are the bright or the alpha stars. When polar aligning, you must know where Polaris is, if you're in the northern hemisphere, of course. So if you don't know where that is, then you're not going to get a polar alignment. Get to know the alpha stars, which are the brightest ones in each of the constellations. So when you go through your constellation little wheel, and everybody's got one of these little things, if you don't, buy any Astro magazine, and they're going to have one right in the middle for what's going on during that time frame. And then you look at all the constellations. The brightest star in each one of the constellations is considered the alpha star. And those are the ones that when you're setting up your go-to electronics, it's actually going to tell you point to this, point to that, because based on the date and all the information you put into it to tell the telescope where you are and where you are in time, it's going to pick out the brightest stars that are visible to you, but you have to know what those are. So knowing your stars is very, very important, or at least know the alpha stars. And finally, a lot of people invest too much in the beginning. They spend way too much. Like Chris said earlier, I went out and I bought the CPC 1100 thing that looked like a Cadillac with all the bells and whistles, and it was wonderful. But what does he use when he goes out? A little 4-inch telescope, okay? He didn't need to spend that money first. And there's a lot of learning curve that goes along with that, and there's a lot of expensive accessories that go along with that. If you're just getting into the hobby, binoculars are great. If you're going to take pictures, get yourself a camera, a couple of different lenses, that kind of thing. Don't jump into this great big astro photography rig, simply because if you do not enjoy it, you've invested a lot of money that you're not likely to gain back that you put into it. So start small, work your way up. And those are my Astro tips of the week.
That nailed it.
Did nail it. Yep. You got them all.
And good. Really good tips.
Yeah, right. Awesome. Yeah, I should clarify that. My first telescope was an eBay telescope, and I couldn't even see the moon through it. Remember? Yeah, it was like big deal, $2.99. I was one of them. I was one of them guys. Yep.
You went the other way, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I'm either a all or nothing. Yeah, it's just beep beep. So then I went back the other way again. So anyway, it is a learning curve for sure. That's what we're talking about tonight. All this learning curve.
Renat says perhaps we need a show on succeeding in impulse astronomy.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Hey, Astronomers Anonymous.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, let's go with I'll go next, I guess, then, guys. What's up this week? Excuse me. What is up with this week?
I don't know. What's up? Clouds.
Clouds. Well, we won't talk about them too much, but
Oh yeah.
all right, here we go.
I've got my
So
thermostat
first of
ready
all,
to go.
I gotta share my screen so you guys can see. Hang on. Entire screen. Now let's try that again. Slideshow from beginning. That's a good spot to, good place to start, I guess. Slideshow from beginning. There we are.
There you
Okay,
go.
what's up this week? What's up this week? Well, let's take a look, first of all, at a few things. First of all week long, of course, the morning parade of planets is continuing. And right into June, actually, right into the end of June. This is their show still this week. So Mars, Jupiter, we had our conjunction this morning. They're still going to be fairly close over the next few days. They are going to start drifting apart from each other. But at least for tomorrow and Tuesday, you'll have them fairly close together. Saturn off here to your right, it's a lot fainter. Venus, of course, very bright down here at close to the horizon, -4 magnitude, so it's pretty bright. It's the third brightest object in the sky. We saw it pretty clear there, Mike, right up until almost sunrise.
Oh yeah.
So it still stay pretty bright. Now Mercury's down here as well. It's just below the horizon, and as the sun rises, it's kind of rising with the sun. So it's just coming out from conjunction now. So it'll be another probably about a week before we get to see it in our morning sky. Then I think around the middle of the month, it's going to be at its greatest western elongation, which means it'll be the highest that it can be. So when that comes in middle June, we'll have Mercury, Venus, and here is Uranus, and then we have Mars, Jupiter, and we have Neptune and Saturn. So that's them all.
And Pluto.
And Pluto. Well, Pluto's out there somewhere, yeah.
It's in that bunch out there.
Poor little Pluto. Out there, you're probably one of these guys over here. Anyway, we'll have all 7 planets lined up in the morning sky right through till the end of June. And the moon is going to join them at the end of that month, too. So we're getting farther ahead, I know, but just keep an eye out that we've got this parade of planets happening all week long. But you have to get out there about 4:30. Set up by 4:30 for sure to catch them. Also, all week long, we got an early setting moon, so the moon turns new tomorrow, and that means it's going to be just a thin crescent all week long, which means it's a great time to be out looking for your deep sky objects. And we have a number of the summertime constellations popping up here. Here's our summer Milky Way starting to come into view. This is looking south all week around 10 o'clock, so it's not quite right in the center of south. It's not due south yet, I guess, but it's getting closer. We did get a nice view there this morning even of the Milky Way. But there's our spring and our summer constellations kind of mixing together, so we're getting closer to our summer sky. So keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. As our skies are still fairly dark. When we're in our new moon like this, new moon enters its new phase on Monday. This presents a perfect opportunity to enjoy the night sky without the light of the moon, allowing us to see objects with more detail as your eyes get a better chance to dark adapt. Binoculars make great observing tools around the new moon phase, so you can see a lot of stuff with binoculars anyway, but it's always good with new moon. Now, let's talk a little bit about this big show coming tomorrow night. And then what have we got? Cloud. Yay! We did catch the one celestial event I think we're going to catch all year. We caught that this morning. I'm counting that one. The guy said, that's not a celestial event. I said, yes, it is. The conjunction this morning of Jupiter and Mars was maybe our only celestial event of the year that we'll catch, but we're hoping for more. Anyway, this is the show tomorrow night. So this is called the Tau Herculid Meteor Shower because it was kind of in this area where the radiant is most years. So this is from a comet that has broken apart. So I'll read a little bit about it. Newest meteor shower takes place Monday night, overnight, the Tau Herculids. But this one will be either an all or nothing event. Most meteor showers are the result of Earth passing through a trail of comet dust. In the case of the Tau Herculids, that trail is now the remnants of a complete destruction of the original comet 73P Schwarzmann-Watchman, or SW3. So many more fragments are left in its wake. Earth is expected to pass through this debris trail on Monday night into Tuesday morning, I'll say, with the peak occurring here on the East Coast at between 2 and 3:30 a.m. on Tuesday. Now, what will we see? Well, these meteors will hit our atmosphere at a slow rate of about 16 kilometers per second. That's what they're predicting, but they'll need to hit the atmosphere at a lot faster rate for us to get to see much of a show. So they are expected to be pretty faint, and they will seem to originate from above the star Arcturus and Bootes here, instead of their typical location in Hercules. So that's about south right there at that time of night, instead of their typical location in Hercules up here. Will there be a show? Well, it'll either be a dud or a fantastic storm, which is typically over 1,000 meteors per hour.
Wow.
We just don't know yet, but your best bet to view them will be from a dark sky site if you can get there. But we are fortunate at this time to be at new moon phase, so no bright moon will interfere. That's one plus, whatever that show happens to be. So what would a meteor storm look like if the display actually happened? Well, back in 1966, there was the famous Leonid meteor storm of 1966, which produced meteors falling at the rate of about 40 meteors per second. Crazy, 40 per second. Now, witnesses said that they felt that they had to clutch the ground because of the impression of the Earth moving through space. That's nuts.
Crazy.
That's like Star Trek, zipping
I want to be there.
warp speed. Yeah.
Driving through a snowstorm.
Yeah, basically, yeah, same. And NASA has been mapping this comet's path for almost a century, so its trajectory is well known. What isn't clear, though, is how quickly the comet was traveling when it broke apart. Now, the faster the particles move in space, the better the show will be when they interact with our atmosphere. So fingers are crossed for a good show. So they are saying that they have to interact with our atmosphere at about 200 miles per hour before they'll get any kind of a show at all. So we really don't know what kind of a speed the comet was at when it broke apart. That's the big question. That's the unknown. So we could hit this trail. A lot of places are calling for it, so it's possible. Now, I'm looking up just even tonight. I went to space.com, had a look at their most recent post, and they're still saying that there's a good opportunity for it to happen. But again, it's all or nothing. And I did put a website on here. We're going to be clouded out, it looks like, from St. John. But here's the website for a virtual telescope project. So he's going to be offering a live feed. And usually what he does is he gets clips from people from around the world who will be maybe witnessing the show. So you might want to screen capture that right there. And that address will be one of probably many that will be offering a live feed. So that's, again, about 2 a.m. Atlantic time for us on Tuesday morning. So good luck, everybody, if you have clear skies.
Yeah.
Coming from there, we've got on Monday night a continued view of Jupiter and Mars just past conjunction now. The two planets will still quickly drift apart over the next week, so they're still about the width of maybe 1.5 full moons apart on Monday night. So there's a view through 10 by 50 binoculars. So they were quite easily visible this morning in a small refractor with about a 40 millimeter eyepiece. They were fairly close. Tuesday, May 31st, catch a 36-hour moon. So the moon turns new on Monday at 8:36 a.m., I believe, Atlantic time. So on Tuesday, look to the west at 9 p.m. for the 36-hour moon. The moon will appear as a very faint sliver in the sky, just that faint. You may need binoculars to view it. Be sure the sun has already set a course before you start looking with binoculars. You don't want to trip and fall and glance at the sun. Always an interesting target at the beginning of each moon cycle, so it's always a challenge to try to catch that moon. We've caught, I think, just below the 24-hour moon last time, or last year we caught it. I think Mike and I caught it just below 24 hours, which is a really tough one. So 36 should be a little bit easier. That's looking west Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Thursday, June the 2nd, our moon greets Pollux and Castor. So on Thursday evening, look to the west as our moon greets Pollux and Castor in Gemini. Now, Pollux is the brightest star in the constellation of Gemini, and it resides about 34 light years from Earth. Now, since it's known as what we call an involved giant orange star, its diameter is about 18 times that of our Sun, and about 30 times as bright. Now, Castor is about 50 light years from Earth, so they're not the same distance. They may appear the same distance, but when you see them in 3D, they're really not. Castor, about 50 light years from Earth, and is actually a sextuplet system. So 6 stars there altogether. A small telescope will split the 2 main stars, and then the rest are seen using what we call spectroscopy. So as a star gets farther away from us, it shifts into the red shift. As it gets closer to us, it turns into the blue shift. So that's how they're measuring or picking out the stars that are around. They can't be viewed through a telescope, but that's how they know that we know that they exist. They're points of light that are changing in color. So yeah, 6 stars combined there in Castor. June 3rd to 4th. Here we go. So this is our first Star Party event in the province. Rask NB presents the Kujapaquak Star Party. From Rask NB website, they say, come join members of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada for our annual Spring Star Fest at Kujapaquak National Park. Several telescopes will be set up on Friday and Saturday nights to allow the public to view the wonders of the night sky. No equipment or experience is needed. Weather permitting, we'll be able to see various star clusters, galaxies, and nebula. This is a photo from Paul Owen. Everybody knows Paul. Photo from Kujapaquak there, he snapped. For visitors, this is another part from the website. The Star Party activities are free and open to the public. However, entrance fees apply, so you have to book your campsite. Everything else is free. You may purchase a permit at the kiosk for the South Kujapaquak Campground, which will remain open until 9 p.m. If you want to camp overnight, you'll need to book a campsite with the park by calling that number or by reserving online. If you're not camping, you may park at the Ryan's Rental Center, so you can come in even if you're not camping. Now, this is the schedule, the primary schedule, Friday night from 8:30 to 9:30. We're going to have a What's Up talk presented in English at the Outdoor Theater. Learn about what you're going to be seeing that evening. And from 10 till 12 is a night sky viewing with telescopes at Site 194, weather permitting. Come look through our telescopes and enjoy the views. It continues on into Saturday from 1 to 3 is solar observing at Site 194, so telescopes will be set up to look at the sun. From 1 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., a telescope and astrophotography clinic, usually conducted by Paul, at Site 194. We can assist you with adjusting and using your telescope. So bring your telescope. If you don't know how to use it, bring it along and show you, and we'll show you how to take pictures of the Milky Way using your DSLR camera as well. I think one time at Fundy, Mike, we had like 5 or 6 telescopes all lined up there, didn't we? One time. Yeah, it was pretty.
Filled my tent.
Yeah, there you go. From 8:30 to 9:30 on Saturday night, the What's Up presentation in French at the Outdoor Theater. And then from 10 to 12, again, night sky viewing with telescopes at Site 194. So it's all over Saturday night. Sunday, everybody heads home. So that's the first of 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 Star Party events this year. So it's twice at Kujapaquak, once now and once again in September, Paul?
In, September, the end of September.
And then we have Mount Carlton on the July 31st weekend, I believe, this year. And Fundy National Park on the Labor Day weekend. Now, Labor Day happens to work out, I think, with a new moon cycle, or it's just a quarter moon maybe. So we usually pick out Labor Day for Fundy because it's a long weekend, and it's usually the last weekend before kids go back to school and stuff. So it's always a nice, good time down there. Mount Carlton, we always try to pick one out that is on a new moon, because when you're at Mount Carlton, you don't want a new moon at all. The sky up there is so fantastic, and even it is a Kujapaquak as well. Like, you can read a map using the light from the Milky Way. It's very faint light, but when you look at a map and you look up and you see it's just starlight that's lighting your page, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that's coming up this weekend, June 3rd, June 4th. You can go to our Rask website, and if you're a Rask astronomer, you can register through Paul. But all you got to do then, really, if you're just a visitor, is just pay for your campsite, and you'll find us at Site 194. And as I always like to post as well, our May-June calendar is available at sjastronomy.ca. So this is what's remaining for the month of May, which is just a couple of days left now, and what we have for our first few weeks of June. So these are celestial events and Star Party events. And from there, we'll go to Lisa's Lookup. Lisa posts her June calendar up now, so it's at Lisa's Lookup, Astronomy and More. You can follow her at Ruby Moonbeams on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So she posts the date of the celestial event, the peak time when you can see it, and what to use to see it with, naked eye, binoculars, or a telescope. So thanks, Lisa, again for that. And that's our show for this week.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. Not a whole lot of other celestial events happening like right now, except for the planet show in the morning sky and our new moon kind of thing. So we'll be getting into more events soon. Okay, let's go from there to, we did Astro Tips, we did What's Up. Let's go to Bino Bud.
Bino the Bud.
The Bud.
Bud.
Binocular target of the week this week by Bino Bud is Millet 111 or Mel 111. It's also known as Bernice's hair. So, The Coma star cluster, also known as Millet 111 or Colander 256, is a small but nearby open cluster located in the constellation Coma Berenices. The cluster contains about 40 brighter stars between magnitude 5 and 10. The bright stars of the cluster make a distinctive V shape when seen when Coma Berenices is rising. The cluster used to represent the tail of Leo at one time, believe it or not, the lion. However, around 240 BC, Ptolemy III renamed it for the Egyptian queen Berenice's legendary sacrifice of her hair to the goddess Aphrodite. Boy, that one got you up there to that.
Sure did.
How do I find that guy?
I'm not going to remember all that.
Oh, if you go outside and at 11 o'clock at night, now it's nice and dark, and you orient yourself to 210 degrees south-southwest, so just past south, you look up and you'll see Leo the lion. And when you come down over off what, if you had a tail, that would be a big fluffy thing, and come over here to, what do I call this?
Coma Berenices, yeah.
Yeah, it's right here where his tail would be the fluffiest, is for lack of a better term anyway. Or here it is here. You look down, here's the back end of Leo, and there would be his tail. Whoops. What will you see? Anyway, look at the bright stars in here. Now, they say it makes a distinctive V depending on what time of season it is and what time of night it is. It could be a V, it could be an arrow, it could be many different shapes, but you'll notice a star cluster in there. They jump out at you like it's just stunning against the background stars. How's that? Through 10 by 50 binoculars, they're huge. It will take up 90% of your field of view. There's no question about it. If I compare it to the full moon, you can see it will take up a lot of your field of view in 10 by 50 binoculars. You cannot miss it. If you point your binoculars to the tail end of Leo and look up, you're going to see this cluster and you're going to go, wow, that is cool. And we got the first image back from the James Webb Telescope. And that's our Bino Target of the Week by Bino Bud.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Another good one.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It was inevitable, James Webb, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be bad? Wouldn't that be bad? Okay, how about a Rosanna talk next? Rosanna's fun facts.
All right, we can do that.
All
Let's
right.
see if I can get the musical score up here.
We're a little after 9, folks. I understand that, but we get some photos to show, and then.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll share my screen and we'll do the. And this is this week's.
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Yay!
Welcome back, Rosanna. And Rosanna has another absolutely wonderful and very cool fun fact this week. Kind of excited about this one. So let's just get right into it. So she goes, "Hi, Paul. Well, there goes the neighborhood. Has anyone ever had a new neighbor that perhaps causes an arched eyebrow among the suburban community? Maybe they are a bit of a crash bang resident with lights and music and all that. How about this? In 4 billion years, this is what our night sky could look like. The Andromeda Galaxy is expected to collide with our own Milky Way. I must say, this is a bit of a CBS crash bang spectacular. But did you know the Milky Way has already had a neighbor or two crash its party? Before 10 billion years ago, our galaxy neighborhood was relatively peaceful with probably just a few scrapes with smaller galaxies. But there was one dramatic crash into a galaxy referred to as Gaia Enceladus, and the fracas left scars. The scars were hidden until the European Space Agency's GALAS telescope brought them to light in 2018. Now, according to Nola Taylor-Tillman, Gaia Enceladus was a dwarf galaxy, slightly smaller than the Milky Way, perhaps 2 billion years old when it crashed into us. The collision course would have had significant ramifications. The Milky Way was a stubby disk, from which stars were flung out, creating its halo. Part of the disk then became unstable and collapsed into a bar-like structure. Over time, a new thin disk was created. When the show was over, the Milky Way was a different galaxy. So you can kind of see what's going on there.
Wow.
So the cops came and the street party quieted down for the next few billion years, except for the occasional consumption of a small, uninvited guest satellite galaxy. Then 6 billion years ago, who showed up? Not an Elvis ancestor, but the Sagittarius galaxy made a grand entrance. Now, Sagittarius is an elliptical galaxy and one of the Milky Way's nearest neighbors. It's coming in to an agonizing end as it interacts with the Milky Way. Discovered in 1994, Sagittarius spirals around the Milky Way's poles. Lacking a more exact comparison, is thought to be somewhere between 100 and 1,000 times less massive than our galaxy. Now, in 2018, scientists discovered a warp in the disk of the Milky Way. Large-scale distortions, collections of stars gravitationally shoved together, are common among spiral galaxies. A warp can form due to intersections within a galaxy, but the movement of ours suggests an external origin. While it's possible our warp was caused by the Large Magellanic Cloud, Eliseo Poggio, and I hope I said that right, an astronomer at the Astrophysical Observatory in Turin, Italy, is convinced the influence of Sagittarius is stronger and is working to prove her theory. Another astronomer, Thomas Ruiz Lara, at the Captain and Astronomical Institute in the Netherlands, has found bursts of stellar formation roughly 6.5 billion, 2 billion, and 1 billion years ago, each tied to several paracentric passes of Sagittarius. And if you thought too many guests were already at this party, the Large Magellanic Cloud and the fourth largest object in the local group is slowly spiraling towards us. For decades, astronomers thought the massive irregular galaxy, alias Crash, and its smaller cousin, the Small Magellanic Cloud, alias Bang, had already made several loops around the Milky Way. But in 2007, data from the Hubble confirmed that the pair were just on their way to the party. They may have arrived 2.5 billion years ahead of Andromeda. Now, even though no one else was invited, the Large Magellanic Cloud is also bringing along its own satellite galaxies, like a Facebook party that has gotten out of hand. Vasily Balakarov, part of one of the two teams that discovered the Gaia Enceladus crash, stated it's a total mess. So today the Milky Way has a supermassive black hole that is actually much smaller than the black holes of other similar sized galaxies. Colliding with the Large Magellanic Cloud may change that with speculation that our black hole may grow up to 8 times larger. And here's a recent first ever pic of our black hole posted May the 12th, 2022. So that's quite an image. So although none of us will be around for the most amazing party of all the centuries ever combined, it promises to be out of this world. And there it is, out of this world galaxy party at 65,230 light years from you.
Wow.
And that is this week's
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Hey! Thanks, Rosanna.
That's
Isn't
awesome.
that something? Now that I find absolutely interesting.
Not going to be
That's
around.
great.
Speak for yourself.
We're gonna have
I've
to change
been
all the
living forever.
books now. It's
Yeah.
all crash and
There's a
bang.
party
It's all
in
crash and
space
bang.
going on.
Crash that star party.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that'd be crazy.
Now, that's a star party.
Party crashers. Okay, thank you, Rosanna, again for another awesome topic.
Yeah.
She keeps digging them up, boy.
Indeed.
Okay, let's go to some photos then. I'll share my screen. And I got to open up some notes first of all. And then I got to open up the photos. Okay, got a number of photos here to share tonight. There's my notes, okay. All right, let's get started with this nice shot by Carol Bean. Wrong screen. Let's bring it down here. How's that?
Oh, look at that beauty.
Beautiful.
Nice, huh?
Beautiful.
So
Gorgeous.
Carol says a bright red sun pillar appeared around 10 minutes after sunset the other night. This view is from St. Stephen. Awesome.
Very nice. Yeah.
Very nice, Carol.
Oh, man.
She does some really nice stuff. David Samard sent these in. David's got a morning moon on the 25th. And
Yes,
a
sir.
couple of sun captures as well.
He's really going after those sunspots.
He is, yeah.
That's awesome.
Doing great work.
Good job.
Thanks, David.
Yeah. Coming along really nicely. My goodness.
A big sunspot. Okay, this one comes in from Stefan. Stefan Picard says, "Hi, Chris. Couple of shots from Tuesday early morning. The sky was really clear. First images of the Milky Way in the Sagittarius Scorpius and Ophiuchus area. It is a 20-second single-shot exposure with 28mm lens on a tripod. And the camera settings were ISO 3200 and shutter f-stop of 3.5. And the image was processed in Photoshop and Lightroom."
Very
That
nice.
is a
Awesome,
crazy
yeah.
busy part of the sky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, "I'm so lucky considering my proximity to KV Center in St. John to have such dark skies in my backyard to clearly see the Milky Way naked eye. And I don't mean just seeing it. You can tell the richness and brightness along the entire band." Yeah, so awesome.
Beautiful.
Very lucky indeed.
Yeah.
Second shot, he says, is from the Big Dipper. While out taking numerous shots of the Milky Way, I noticed the Big Dipper just sitting perfectly above the house in the northwest direction. It's a single shot, 15-second exposure, again with a 28mm lens and camera settings of f3.5 and ISO 3200. It nicely picked up the Mizar and Alcor double stars in the panhandle. There they are right there, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So for those folks who haven't seen that, zoom in right there. There's where you want to look. Well, maybe we can zoom in here.
It's right there. Yeah.
Look at that. So there's a double star right there. Mizar and Alcor. Look at all the colors, though, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Very nice.
They're not all white, for sure. Okay, thanks, Stefan. And this one came from actually Cliff Valley Astronomy, which is Stefan's business as well, of course. Cliff Valley offers private viewing. You can contact him through Cliff Valley Astronomy on Facebook. And this picture was taken this morning. Stefan Picard says, "Success, both Jupiter and Mars in the same field of view. iPhone to a 35mm eyepiece, my widest view eyepiece in my kit. The only drawback is less magnification or details, but you can pick up some of the Galilean moons, certainly can.
Yep.
Around Jupiter in the upper left corner, I did take a couple of videos of each individually to be posted shortly. The distance between both is about a full moon's width." Yep. Yeah, that's...
Very close. Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Nice.
Thanks, Stefan. And good luck to Cliff Valley Astronomy. Look him up
Sure.
if you're looking for private viewing. He has all the gear. All right. Ian Bloom sent this one in. He says, "Greetings from down under. Cold, wet, and miserable here. Not ideal for imaging at all. Here is a capture of the Witch Head Nebula I imaged a few months back. It's from Australia. A very difficult object to target as it is so faint. These are 43 at 30-second exposures at 12,800 ISO, taken with my stock 700D Canon, coupled to my 115mm triplet refractor." So, awesome
Wow.
shot.
Oh, you got it.
Detail
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Yep.
Thanks, Ian. Okay, we're going to go from there to Lisa. Lisa had, on Lisa's lookup page, she said, "Did you see it? May 29th, that's this morning, of course. Mars was just below Jupiter this morning, and Venus was also shining brightly."
Yep.
She used an iPhone 13 for magnification. Was a Swarovski.
Swarovski.
Swarovski, okay. Optic birding 65mm spotting scope at 20 times magnification, and assembled in Bazart, B-A-Z-A-A-R-T. Bazart.
Bizarre.
I'll take my guess. Okay, I'll call it that. Lisa can probably correct us on it. Thanks, Lisa. Great
Very
stuff.
nice.
Good stuff that you got it. Catch
Yeah,
her
very
at,
nice. Nice presentation, too.
yep. Catch her at Lisa's Lookup on Facebook. Robert Cadet. Video stacking of the sun on May the 24th. Capture details 930 frames, 20% best stacked. Captured with a Canon T7i. MP4 video converted to SER by PIP. Stacking by Auto Stackered. Processing by Registax and Lightroom. Granulation, I'll say solar filter, batter planetarium, ASTF 200, Meade LX 200 8-inch SCT Classic. Nice detail, Robert.
Yeah. Yeah. You can really see a lot of stuff.
The solar filter's doing a job for him.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Really well.
This there again, see folks say, I didn't send him in that picture. I don't care. You put a picture up, I'm going looking for it. Fair game. Okay. We've got these ones from Duckman Arsenault. Duckman sent these ones in from 440 this morning. There's, of course, the conjunction.
Is that an M40?
Yeah, 40. Yeah.
Nice try.
Nice try. Yeah. Not quite. Yeah, they're both the same stars. Yeah, they're both the same brightness. There's this Jupiter capture with some moons. And another nice capture there.
I thought we were the only wackos up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of people up that time of
I
morning.
think more and more people are getting up. You know, I think it's because it's getting light so early.
I think
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
You automatically just
You might
need
as
to
well.
get up.
Makes for a long
Rooster
day.
starts going, you got to get up, right?
Yeah, makes for a long day.
Yeah.
Okay, these came from Matthew Dupre. Matthew says, my photo submissions for the week. First one is of ISS trail across the sky.
Very nice.
Very
Yes,
nice,
sir.
huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Program I used
That's
to make
cool.
the panoramic kind of messed up on the ISS trail a little bit, but still looks pretty good.
Still, it's really
Absolutely,
good.
sure
Oh,
does.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
then he's got this one. The second photo is about 30 minutes worth of exposures to make some star trails.
That's
Beautiful.
nice.
You got him.
Awesome. Yeah. Gotta learn how to do
Beautiful.
that.
Very nice.
Robert says, you're always welcome to post my. Thanks, Robert, because I'm going to grab them anyway. No, I do appreciate the opportunity to share. Thank you for that. It's always
Very
always
good.
nice to see them. Yeah. And this one's last one is of a sunset the other day. He said so. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice reflections, eh?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Great colors.
I love that refraction too that the atmosphere creates for us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, Mike Powell.
Hey,
Oh,
I saw
geez.
that.
What are you
Yes,
showing that
nice
for?
job.
There you go. That's from the beach this morning. That's why we're showing that.
That's
Nice.
So
terrible.
there it was. There's your Milky Way at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And Sagittarius
Lots,
sitting.
lots of city lights around me, though.
There's the handle of Sagittarius right there, and there's the pot.
Yep.
So she's pretty close.
Was it murky?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of haze there this
Yeah, there
morning,
was.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mike, the other Mike there, he dewed up pretty quick.
Oh, you do that real quick.
Yeah.
But he brought along his dew heater, so he was prepared.
He was.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and a dew shield.
Yes, indeed, you do.
You
He's
didn't
a
get do.
prepared dude.
And there's there's Venus and Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn way over here on the right. So
Saturn in, yeah, that was 18 millimeter.
yeah,
That
great,
sun's just coming right up, eh?
yeah,
It's coming. It was coming
Great.
fast.
great
That
job,
looks
Mike.
awesome. Looks awesome.
Oh, yeah, crap.
There he is.
There he is.
Oh,
Yeah.
gee. Have a big turkey
So-
dinner, Chris?
Looks at them.
We
Yeah.
couldn't find him later on. We thought the tide took him out.
That tide was out a long way. I
It was.
Yeah, and I was crouched down there because the sun was rising at the same time, and I'm trying to see the screen. And anyway, try to do what I can
Yeah.
to offer a live view. So
That's a beautiful
Beautiful.
time of day, isn't it?
yeah,
Beautiful morning.
The belt of
Really
Venus
beautiful.
over there on the side.
Yeah. That's
Oh
just
yeah, this
nice.
one came from Renat.
Oh, wow.
Renat
Nice.
says, "Hi Chris, I just sent a picture of the NSAS address. It's called Ultima Blessings. Let yourself be lost." Now she says there are some poetry lines that go with this painting. And I'm going to read them to you. These are very fitting, not authored by me, but from an author, artist, minister named Ian Robertson. The lines always remind me of what I experience when I step outside and look up into the starlit skies. So here's the excerpt. Then let yourself be lost. Let yourself leave for a place whose contours you do not already know, whose cadences you have not learned by heart. Let yourself land on a threshold that mirrors the mystery of your own bewildered soul. Wow, that's deep.
Yeah. Look at the detail that's in that.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere you look, there's
There's something.
there's
Yeah.
something that
She's
evokes a thought of some
she's the
sort.
most amazing abstract artist. Like just incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Now she also asked if able and so inclined, please mention my Sunbury Shores solo exhibit in the back galleries with opening on Friday, the 3rd, and running through to June 18th in St. Andrews by the Sea. Now, my exhibit is called Resilience, and that painting and other recent works by me can be seen there. Writing and poetry may also be included by the curators. So there you go, Renat. So check out Renat's show at Sunbury Shores Solo Exhibit in the back galleries in St. Andrews by the Sea from the 3rd until
Yeah.
the 18th. So if you want to check out her work, it's amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, let's go from there to say that it's not always, everything's not always nature looking up. Sometimes it's nature looking out. So
Things are just ducky, aren't they?
aren't they just ducky? Yeah.
Is that foul?
These are of course Paul's amazing shots. Just
Yeah.
brought out a few of them here. So
It's incredible.
the detail is just astounding.
Amazing, Paul.
Yeah, the Osprey. That was a
Yeah.
cool
Get
shot.
them to pose like that for you. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, and they just
Yeah.
stay right there. They don't
Yeah,
even move in the sky.
Yeah,
Right?
just
I
stay
can
right
never
there.
get them to cooperate. I don't know why.
This is through Hampton, Paul.
This is this morning,
Okay.
and when I was actually when you guys were on live,
Hmm.
this was just starting to happen. The sun was just starting to come up,
Okay.
and then all of a sudden, this big mist belt just started filling the whole area where I was.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, this is just amazing lighting.
Yeah.
I got to take a
That
picture
was
of that.
fantastic photo.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
Captured it very well. All right. I'm going to throw just a few in there for me. This is me on the live feed this morning with Jupiter and Mars, a couple of moons just through the little refractor. So that was just the camera from the cell phone. It struggles a little bit for some photos, but there was my snap this morning. So Venus over here in the corner,
yeah.
Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn up here.
I missed the beach. I haven't been down there with you guys.
No,
over 2 years.
yeah. There's a snap from this morning too. So that was the
Beautiful.
sunrise.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So
That's
it's
amazing.
a great spot to be for sure. I can't wait to get back there full time. I'm hoping that this week coming up is going to be my first real back to work activity down there. So with the new moon cycle.
Way out.
That
Oh,
was way
yeah.
crazy out. Yeah.
Pretty far, isn't it?
Yeah, it was way out. Yeah. Incredible. Really nice. So anyway, if you want to send us your photos, we do love sharing them, of course. So you can send them into Sunday Night Astronomy Show at gmail.com, or you can send them into SNAS, S-N-A-S, for Sunday Night Astronomy Show at astronomybythebay.ca. And we'd love to get them, and please do that, because we love sharing them. We like seeing all your work.
That indeed. Indeedy duty.
Indeedy duty. Okay, well, I guess it's that time again. Time, gentlemen, please.
So I'm glad we had this time together.
Mr. Music, please.
Okay, so in closing tonight, we'd like to thank all of you again for your continued support. We'd also like to thank Rosanna once again for another interesting Rosanna's Fun Facts. Thank you, Rosanna, for always contributing to the show. We really appreciate it. We also hope that all of you who have joined us from Rogers enjoyed the program. If you would like more information about the wonders of the night sky, you can contact me at astronomybythebay.ca, and I'll pass you on to these guys if you like. I don't mind doing that. And thank you again to all of you on my YouTube and Facebook and Instagram channels who continue to share our broadcast with your family and friends, such as the NB Storm and Weather Center. Sean there is always sharing our feed. Sean, thanks so much. Trudy as well. Trudy Allman, of course, shares it to 100 different pages, I think. I think she spends half the show just sharing it.
I was going to say.
And all the others, we do really appreciate you sharing it as well. So remember, we do love getting your photos, so send them in to SNAS at astronomybythebay.ca, and we'll be happy to include them on our next broadcast. And we're also looking for suggestions for topics for future shows, so if you have something you'd like us to talk about, please let us know, and we'll try to do our best to make it happen for you. And please let your friends and family know as well that we are here every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook to edutain you on astronomy and the wonders of the night sky. So for now then, from Mike and Paul and I, we wish you a safe and happy week, everybody. Lots and lots of clear skies. And as we like to say, guys, open your eyes to view the skies and keep your scopes pointed up.
Put it up.
Good night, everybody. everyone.